And I ain't talking no fantasy. I ain't talking no pseudo stuff. Like I said, the challenge is out there for folks who think it ain't real. And I'm talking about the folks that talk the most stuff. Oh, that's not real. It ain't no ghost. There's no power left on the earth. Never was no power left on the earth. You know, ain't no such thing as no God. There ain't no such thing as no different dimensions. It's all, I'm a materialist. I believe in the bread and butter and peanut butter and bricks and mortar and stuff like that. It ain't no spirit. When you die, you're gone. That's it. One thing that I know from entheogens, and it's a big part of it, is that the only impossible thing for you to do is die. You can't die. It ain't no such thing as death. You just slough off this body and step off into something else. And the body that you step off into can look just like you. You may be a little younger, you may be a little older, and that's all pliable because you utilize it the way you do. What do you think they got Thanos and Galactus and them sitting in them chairs out in space? They just floating around in space sitting on a chair. If you go back into my talks, we talk about the chairs. We talk about sitting in space. It's all about the stools. Those Asante stools are those things. Those are Asante ancestors, the Asante folk, those who came together for war, sit on those same stools with those same symbols, those same Adinkra symbols, sitting out in the cosmos, sitting on stars to make ours look like a match because they're part of the houses. I try to tell the Moors that you can't be a subject and a sovereign at the same time. So what, the King of Morocco signed the treaty. That makes you the subject of the King of Morocco. You exist and live under his bequest and behest. Sovereigns don't have nations. The Rothschilds don't have no nation. The Redshield, they don't have no nation. The House of Windsor, they're not part of a nation. The House of Fraser not part of a nation. The Habsburgs and all that kind of stuff, they're not part of nations. They have houses. Houses are separate entities. They are like a Sith holocron, like that oblong square that the doggone Borg are in. They self-contained. That's why they say they're the House of Windsor. They don't say we the German Empire. They say we the House of Habsburg, or we the House of Rothschild, or we the House of Windsor, or the House of this, or the House of that. Because you can't be a national because you are beholden to the nation. The house is your family. It's where your roots are embedded in eternity. It is who we are. It is where we stand in relationship to everything else that exists everywhere in all time and space. That's why you better be part of a house, not part of a nation. No, I'm saying, and this is the old stuff. This ain't the new modern stuff. Everything that's being done now is modern. It's not the old stuff. The old stuff. I got my 3 lessons, the last 3 lessons from my teacher when I was down in the grave, in the crypt with him. I spent 3 moonless nights in the grave with my teacher. And he taught me the last 3 lessons of darkness on this earth. Everything else I got to get from him on the other side. To find out that my teacher is my advisor. So when I go into the multiverse and I converse with my teacher, he advises me on what's going on every place, all the time, throughout existence, throughout time, throughout space, throughout the multiverse, throughout the infrarealms. Should the family go here? Should the family go there? Should we step to these folks? Should we close down and hold our position? What strategies do we use moving into places that have never been breached, into realms that have never been experienced? We going into places that it ain't no precedent for. There's nothing that has ever been in these places. And there are places so dark and so malevolent and so horrific and so powerful that you have to create on the fly how to deal with these things. We're talking about the realms of true power and the existence of all things at all times. And these things are available for those beings who have the courage, who have the power, who have the fortitude, to those who can look darkness in the eye, who can look the spirit of death in the eye and say, not today.
Welcome, everyone. That was a Mercury retrograde stand-in that we had right there. Thanks for everybody who's already tuned in and listening. Please invite a friend. This is Coach Khayr. You're listening to Coach K Radio tonight, Original Native Radio, and we're going to be talking about psilocybin mushrooms. Should you grow your own? With master mycologist Baba Ahati Kilindi Iyi. And we was having a little difficulties getting the show started, but we just want to thank everybody who has come on. Please share with the new phone number, 760-542-3900, on your social media accounts to everybody. And just let them know that we on here. They can click the link and come through. I remember last year when we were recording like 12 shows, 11 shows that led into this 12th show. That was a really big segment that Kilindi had gave us as a lesson. It was just like classes upon classes upon classes, because we was doing 3-hour podcast times 11. That's 33 hours of information. And so I'm just really glad I had that at the very top of the queue, that I could go into that to set the tempo. Man, this show right here is basically, I don't know, I'm not going to say it's my calling, but it definitely has called me, and I picked the phone up. And if you're listening, you have been called as well to pick the phone up, give this a listen. It's piqued your interest in some sort of fashion or some sort of way, and I'm doing my best to bring the highest, most hands-on experience to the family for strategy. Like, we discussing wisdom and strategy tonight, all right? So the moon just fell up in the Scorpio. Somebody just text me, following. They like, yeah, I'm on my studies. But without further ado, man, y'all get up, get your hands together for international scholar, master teacher, and mycologist Kilindi Iyi of the Tamarian Institute. Put your hands together. Baba Kilindi, how you doing this evening? Baba, take yourself off mute. Baba, I can't hear you. Well, Baba, I can't hear you.
Are you there?
Yeah, I got you now. Wide open. I got you. We good to go.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to be here. Things were running a little crazy there for a minute, but now we're on track.
Absolutely. We in the as you call it, we are in Disneyland. That's when the party has started. So we up in here. How was your day today, Barbara? How you feeling?
I'm well. Still here, working with it, and as the Christians say, fighting a good fight.
I see your Ripple is up about 7 cents, and your Ethereum is doing really good over here. So I know you over there grinning, and you're gonna want to shoot some jabs at me later tonight. But I see you. I see you over there. I see you.
Well, that's all part of the plan. If you can make $1,000 with every 25 cents you got, I don't see why folks ain't doing it. But that's food for another show. We wait until it's too late. Folks will be trying to buy Ripple when it's $700 a coin, as opposed to 33 cents, which it is today. So
it's at 33 today.
Yes, it went to 34 cents today, but it's 33 right now.
Whoa. I'm going to tell everybody a little story later on about my Ripple and why me and Bob are talking about it like it is. When we be by ourselves, but we be talking about crypto. We be talking about mushrooms a little bit, and I want to give some relationship advice, but we be talking about that crypto. And both of us right. We trying to win. Good gracious. Wait a minute. Oh, Lord. What just happened? Okay. All right. Anyway, I'm excited, Baba, because on the 28th, 29th of February, you're going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. You're going to be doing a lecture on the 28th about, the real story of magic mushrooms. And then on the 29th, we have a grow class for 12 people in a private location. And have you ever been to Atlanta to teach on this subject or have a class down here?
Yeah, I've been to Atlanta before. Yeah.
But I mean, for a lecture and a grow class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not the grow class, but the lecture. Yes.
All right. Well, that's gonna be fun. Anyone interested? Y'all seen the flyer for the grow class? Please shoot me an email at coachkhayr@gmail.com. Just send me an email. Say I'm interested in the grow class, and in Atlanta, Georgia. It will not be filmed. It will not be broadcast. And just ask me any other questions in the email, and I'll take care of it. I'll probably get you on the phone. Just email and send me your phone number, and we'll get it together. Man, Baba, tonight I'm just going straight to it. I guess you can introduce yourself in any way you want, like how long you've been, in the mycology game. But the bottom line is going to be like, why do I need to grow my own? That's the hashtag I'm using, grow my own. Can you help me out understand why that's so important and what are the benefits for the family? And this is part of the reason I'm telling them that. I want you to talk about that now, because when you get here on Friday night, the Breaking Convention always gives you 30 minutes to do a 2-hour lecture or a 2.5-hour lecture. Well, we ain't going to do that to you. I want you to bring that same one that you just did, that last one you had at the Breaking Convention that you only gave me 32 minutes of. Bring that whole slide deck and run it. Take your time, do it the way you want to. You're going to be at home, mi casa, su casa. But tonight I just want to let folks know, why do we need to be attempting to grow our own?
Well, the thing about the mushroom technology is that it's a worldwide phenomenon that's going on right now as we speak, all over the world, and we're asleep at the switch. We aren't the families not getting in any appreciable numbers to understand what legitimate spirituality is, to understand what's going on with ancient Kemet, ancient India, Angkor Wat, Australia, Cambodia. Well, that's Angkor Wat. but Thailand, the Indonesian archipelago, the Philippines, brother who was part of the group studied with myself and others back in the 80s and 90s. And when I first brought this to several groups back in the 90s, nobody listened, really. They're like, oh, Baba Kilindi's tripping. And brother left and went to the Philippines. And while he was in the Philippines, some folks said something about magic mushrooms and basically said, what they basically said is, yeah, come on over to the house. We're going to be looking at some Baba Kilindi videos. In the Philippines, the brothers like Baba Kilindi say, Hati Kilindi Iyi. They say, yeah, that's who we looking at. So, so the brother had to go, halfway across the world for the folks to tell him where he was 25 years ago, and so brother reached out and we back in contact with what's going on. But it's a worldwide phenomenon. Places, every major university, Cambridge, Oxford, University of Pennsylvania, Stanford, I'll be speaking at Princeton this April, Harvard, all these universities have a, number one, psychedelic club. Every city has a psychedelic society. Every state has a psychedelic society. And this thing is just blooming all over the place. And the reason to grow your own is that you once you have one sporeprint of a variety of psilocybin mushrooms, you never have to buy anything else. It's not like going to church; you have to pay tithes, and it's not like you got your guru or your master teacher or whatever, and you're supporting them with Cadillacs and big houses and things like that. The mushroom is the teacher. For less than $50-$60 worth of equipment, you can become perpetual in your exploration of the multiverse. That is, the multiple universes that exist side by side, on top of each other, interpenetrating one another. You can do that study with just learning some very simple techniques. There's a learning curve to it, but once you get it, you got it, and you can pass it on and spread the information into the community on how to grow your own entheogens. Where they come from, the purpose they were grown for. You can talk to them just like people talk to their plants. You can say, well, I want to go here, I want to go there, I want to learn this, I want to learn that. And the mushroom mycelium is sentient. It is a big brain on the blockchain. That's why I like to talk about blockchain, Bitcoin, and things like that, because Bitcoin is the psychedelic currency. It is the one to rule them all, as they say. And it's on the blockchain. It is a distributed ledger of knowledge and information of the multiverse. So learning to grow your own, it just makes sense. You don't have to. You can buy mushroom from folks if you find a source to be able to do that. But if you don't know your source, what's the reason why they're selling mushrooms? Is it to help people to become more knowledgeable of this whole universal space that we're talking about, or is it just to make a few dollars, and they don't basically care about how they are grown or how the cleanliness? There's a lot of things that can happen. I'm not saying most of the people who are sharing mushrooms are not of that persuasion. but there are some unscrupulous people who, they don't basically care. They just going for the money's sake, and that's not what we want in the community. We want knowledgeable, clean, diligent people that are growing their own mushrooms, and that way because mushrooms, although they're not expensive as as things go, they're in many places. Some are going for $15 a gram, and so if you want to take a large trip, you're looking at a little bit of an investment in doing that and growing your own. You would take that financial burden out of being able to get into the space, so that, and then you can grow enough to share with your friends and family, and that's one of the reasons for growing your own psilocybin magic mushrooms, because mushrooms are magic, other psychedelics, may be medicines, but we don't look at psilocybin solely as a medicine. It can be used for medicine. They're using it for depression. They're using it for smoking cessation. They're using it for post-traumatic stress disease. They're using it with people who have had strokes, ADHD, all these different types of maladies. But the first and foremost utilization of the blue psilocybin mushroom is the exploration of consciousness, to explore who you are, what you are, where you come from, where you're going. These are the things that are part of the whole session of exploration. They say that, that everything has been, of course, deep space haven't done that in a long time, but everything has been, discovered. Everything has been looked at, but in reality, we only have seen a very, very small speck of what reality is, and this takes us into so many places that are unimaginable. And the thing is that you can't explain it to anybody who's never done it, and done it sufficiently enough to get a true entheogenic experience or psychedelic experience or hallucinogenic experience. You have so many people that are in the hype of the medical model, which is 2 grams, 3 grams, 5 grams, microdosing. Most people that are taking microdosing won't take a full dose of mushrooms, and a full dose of mushrooms goes along with microdosing, even if you're doing microdosing. So the way that I see it, and the way that I'm moving towards spreading it, is the exploration of consciousness at high dose, utilizing the psilocybin mushroom to breach the space of what many people call spirituality, and giving people a chance to be able to get into space and have some legitimate spiritual experiences on call. Some folks have legitimate spiritual experiences, but they're few and far between. They don't happen often. They may hope to happen once a lifetime, but a compound that is not harmful to the human body, that can get you into those type of places and spaces without any physical harm, because psilocybin mushrooms are very, very safe. They're safer than a cup of coffee. They're safer than a Reese's Pieces. They're safer than almost anything that you can take. So you can eat as much as you want, and it's not going to kill you. You can't eat enough of it to kill yourself. It's non-addicting. can be used for many different ways of knowledge, many different ways of being. So the space, the hallucinogenic, psychedelic, entheogenic space is accessible through the psilocybin mushroom matrix.
Baba, you said that psilocybin is safe, but some people have been in their experience and they be like, call the police. Well, I need to go to the hospital. Why do they want to call the police? Why do they want to go to the hospital? Why do they want to just relax?
Well, I wasn't talking about it not being psychologically challenging, because it can challenge you psychologically. That's why we put together a protocol of 5 grams as your initial dose with a sitter. Now, a sitter is a person who stops you from calling police or stops you from going to the hospital, because there's no reason for you to go to the hospital. Then your second dose is 7 grams with a sitter, stop you from walking down the street and telling people you God. And the third dose is 9 grams with a sitter to fully include you into the trip, because we err on the low side, but we want you to get in. That's 5 grams. Some people don't, at 5 grams, don't get fully immersed. So by 9 grams, you should be fully immersed. And after 9 grams, if you feel comfortable to be able to go solo, then you can go solo. 5, 7, and 9 is really to give you confidence in yourself that you're not going to do anything crazy, because psilocybin doesn't change who you are. If you're not crazy, when you take psilocybin, psilocybin is not going to make you crazy. If you're a nut when you go in, it may trigger your nutdom, So it can be psychologically challenging, but you're not going to kill yourself with it. You're not going to become addicted to it, because really, in reality, it's anti-addicting, meaning that, it ain't something that you, when you talk about high dose, it ain't just something that you relish doing. It's an ordeal. It's a challenge. It's it's like Luke leaving, his uncle and aunt and going off with Obi-Wan into crazy new places, meeting strange new beings, traveling away from home, getting into other worlds and other galaxies and adventure. These type of things are what's going on in the psychedelic space, and young, old, at folks, getting in at young ages, and people all the way into their 80s taking mushrooms and exploring and experiencing these spaces and places. And it definitely gives you knowledge, and it gives you a way to get in to see what the old ones saw, to go into the places and spaces that the old ones went into. Why do you think folks were walking around in the Sahara when it was green prior to the Younger Dryas 50,000 years ago? Why do you think? For no reason, they were walking around and said, they've been walking around there for 30,000 years, and all of a sudden one day somebody say, hey, you see that spot over there? Let's build a pyramid. You see that place over there? Let's build a temple. They don't have no why, for what reason. Where did they get this from? They got it from the mushrooms. Hey, well, let's, on the wall outside of this temple, let's get together a family of beings, and let's think a man's body, and let's put the head of a bird on this man's body. Hey, let's get another man's body and put a crocodile head on it. Let's get a woman's body and put a cat head on Well, they've never seen these things in nature. The cave paintings all over Africa in different places. And people know how to draw what is in nature. You know, they know how to draw wildebeest. They know how to draw hippopotami. They know how to draw giraffes. They know how to draw other human beings. They know scale and all these different types of things. So why did they start drawing things that they had no prior contact with? You know, there are places in the Kilindi Plateau in Algeria, which are a series of labyrinth caves with paintings on them. And at a time when nobody on earth had a shoe, nor a pair of pants, you just gonna draw some people with spacesuits on, helmets and boots with laces in them and pants and belts around the pants to hold them up. They didn't have any prior information about these things. So why? Just out of imagination? They say it's out of imagination. Imagination out of experience. Imagination is out of what is in the plenum of information that, if not you, prior people in your line or prior people in your community have experiences about. They can sit down around a fire and draw a picture and say, well, I was walking down, the road here a little while, and I ran into this guy, and he had on these things on his feet, and he called them boots. But they never met those people in regular three-dimensional five-sense reality consciousness. But they did meet these creatures and these people and these entities and these different type of beings in the psychedelic space. And that's where they brought back pre-Kemetic priests that were trained in Atlantis. And I know coming to Atlanta and talking about Atlantis, you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff because folks be talking about it wasn't no Atlantis. We don't have no records of no place called Atlantis. Well, it wasn't necessarily called Atlantis. Plato called it Atlantis. He got it from Critias the Younger, who got it from Critias the Elder, who got it from Solon, who was the ancestor of Plato. And also, he learned about it through Socrates. When Solon was in Egypt, what they did was he asked the Kemetic priests about the last cataclysm. And they said that there were many cataclysms, but the last cataclysm was 9,000 years prior to when Solon was in Egypt. 9,600 years plus 2,000 years, which we would add from modern time, would be 11,600 BCE, which was the time of the second impact, which brought us out of the Younger Dryas. The Younger Dryas was a time period of 1,300 years, from 12,600 to around 11,600, when the Earth was plunged back into Arctic temperatures. The temperatures in the range of the last ice age, which was the Pleistocene. So you're talking about Arctic temperatures that Robert E. Howard talked about in his Conan classic novels, a time of high adventure, the time when the seas sunk Atlantis, prior to the rise of the sons of Aries, was a time of undreamed of. So we had 1,300 years of crazy stuff going on because the civilizations in the Americas were destroyed. In North America, part of Mexico was destroyed. It affected South America also. It plunged Europe, Northern Europe, back into Arctic temperatures. It changed the actual North Atlantic current because when solar radiation comes in at the equator, it is trapped in the oceans by the salinity of the water. is trapped down there. So when the North Atlantic current, which brings the water north from the equator, it liberates that heat and gives a temperate climate. But when that was changed, when that was stopped, because of all of this fresh water going into the Gulf, going into the Atlantic, it changed the salinity of that water, which meant that the solar radiation came in at the equator and it just floated back up at the equator. The warm temperatures were never brought north, so it plunged the north back into Arctic temperatures. So that was all part of the last climactic impact that changed the Earth. It started, it accelerated drying in North America. It killed off the megafauna. Megafauna is any mammal over 100 pounds. It killed off the dire wolf. If anybody watched Game of Thrones out there, and you saw the wolf that Jon Snow had, the wolf that was doggone near 5 feet at the shoulders, they had those walking around North America. They had the short-nosed bear, which was twice the size of a grizzly and the most terrible predator on the North American continent. You had 4 different types of elephants, at least 2 that we know about from high school, the mastodon and the mammoth. Had the North American horse, that was killed off in a day, because when the Spaniards came to North America, there were no horses. The horses that we have are a descendant of the Spanish horses, the Mustang, the Mustangs that the indigenous people were were riding and things like that. They called them in their language big dogs because they didn't have any name for them. Because when the North American horse was here, there weren't any people who had crossed the Bering Straits who were genetically tied to Mongolia that were here. So you had that, which changed the topography of the landmass, changed the mushroom fruiting season, changed where mushrooms were. At one time they were no longer. In the Sahara, as it dried, the mushrooms dried up, because mushrooms need a certain temperature. They need a certain moisture content. So as the Sahara started drying out, and the rivers, tributaries, streams, all of these different water sources dried up, the mushrooms receded from the Sahara, and you only had mushrooms growing in the south. So you had great cattle cultures in East Africa, which had mushrooms, whereas they were no longer in what we would call Egypt and Libya and places like this. Although the Kemetic priests learned how to cultivate mushrooms, and you have the mushroom iconography in ancient Egypt, ancient Kemet, which was part of which was the originator of the spiritual system of ancient Egypt.
Baba, it's crazy because to me, like even with the subject, even though you're talking about you giving us the history, it's like the mushrooms that I can grow seem to teach me these things, and I know them firsthand. Can you talk about the importance of knowing for yourself and versus secondhand information? Like how have you seen some of this information? And you ain't even really got to get to where you be at 30 grams and 40 grams. You could talk about the information you can get between 5 and 15 and 20. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, it takes you to these places in real time, eye to eye, face to face. You're not speculating or hearing a tale or a story. You're actually going to these particular places. Mushrooms give you the ability to time travel, in the future and into the past. They give you the record hall, the libraries of what Helena Petrova Blavatsky and Annie Besant and C.W. Leadbeater and others who were part of the Theosophical Society from the late 19th century and early 20th century, who called the Hall of Records, or the Library of the Records of the Galaxy, the Akashic Records, where we call it the Akashic Records. Very similar. Akashic Records, in other words, the record halls of the Acacia, because that also was one of the entheogenic plants that we utilized in ancient Kemet. It was also used in Turkey, and it was also used in the southern portions of Africa. It's called Acacia nilotica, the acacia of the Nile, which was called the tree of life. It was also called the tree of knowledge. You take it and it extends life. You take it and then you gain knowledge. It's going to be talked about in next year's movie, which I think, and hopefully they'll get it right, Dune, which is the work of Frank Herbert. Frank Herbert wrote Dune on hallucinogenic psychedelic mushrooms. That's where you get the whole thing in Dune about traveling without traveling, or, traveling without moving, that the eyes were blue within blue, the Bene Gesserit priestesshood who practiced genetic understandings in being able to have the women utilizing parthenogenesis and creating the universe's super being. These type of things that Frank Herbert got from eating the mushrooms while he was writing his work on Dune. Paul Stamets got several cultivation. Paul Stamets is he's like the mushroom Einstein. He got several of his cultivation techniques from Frank Herbert, because Paul Stamets would go and visit and talk to Frank Herbert, and Frank Herbert was a mushroom enthusiast, and he basically provided several mushroom growing techniques to Paul Stamets. So, and I think that Paul Stamets has a new movie coming out in limited theaters called Fantastic Fungi. I saw the trailer of it today. So if it comes to your area, definitely go and support Paul Stamets and the growth of mushrooms. It'll open up visions of not just psychedelic mushrooms, but many of the different mushrooms that grow on Earth that are edible, that are used for medicine, that are used for pesticides, that are used for bioremediation, these type of things. Like I said, he's kind of like the mycological Einstein, and says that mushrooms can save the planet, and indeed they can, because mushrooms are more closely associated with humans than any of the other kingdoms, and fungi is neither animal nor plant, but it has a mycorrhizal relationship with both, because we have fungal genes in the DNA blockchain. Every plant is part fungi because of the mycelial mat that permeates the world, which is the Earth's internet. And so if you get a chance to see the movie, go and see it. You'll be fascinated by mushrooms and how they grow and how they help the Earth to be what it is. No creature would be on Earth without the fungi that built the ability for plants to be able to exist on Earth. Fungi, mushrooms are the oldest plenum of information that came out of the sea, that came out of the sky, and basically sequestered the Earth and made it available for life. Mushrooms are 465 million years older than plants, and it is like I said, it is the elder of this planet in the physical world, but it is one of the organic artificial technologies that not only permeates the galaxy, but also is transdimensional, extraterrestrial, ultradimensional, and it can survive the vacuum of space. And it has the knowledge of everything that it has contacted for quadrillions or quintillions of years prior to the formation of this universe. And of course, we know that we base time as the construct in this universe because of how the Earth rotates around the sun. And it ain't been no quintillion years since this universe is been built. But I'm just saying that if we extrapolated the understanding of time back past before this universe was formulated, we would say quintillions of years, because the mushroom spores are, again, a blockchain, a distributed ledger from which each spore is a container of all of the information that the mushrooms have contacted in all this space and time. It is just like it's a quantum field of knowledge and information that is available inside of each spore. And each spore has preserved the knowledge and information that is part of the chain of knowledge that exists prior to the formation of this universe. And it's twin, because universes are created as twins. So you have a twin universe with you exactly as you are, with certain changes because you're in a left-hand or right-hand universe. So in this universe, you got on a red shirt. In that universe, you got on a yellow shirt. In this universe, you're right-handed. In that universe, you're left-handed. That type of thing. Your doorknob is on the other side in your house, all of that. And all of that is contained in the mushroom spores that are entangled on the quantum realm. So every spore has all of the knowledge and information of all of the contacts that the mushroom spores have encountered through its sojourn since the time that it was created by the elders.
Now, hold on, Baba. Wait a minute. You're telling me that if the people who are going to come to class on the 29th, how long is the class going to be on the 29th? What time are we going to start?
The class is a 4-hour class.
So you want to start around? You want to start around 10 or start around 11? What you want to do?
It's probably around 11 o'clock.
Okay. Now you're telling me in 4 hours. In 4 hours, when people leave there at 3 o'clock, they're gonna have access to the technology you've been talking about for the last 20 minutes with them in the car when they leave? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Not just have it in their hands, but they're going to have it in their minds and they're going to have a full understanding? Is that what you are trying to tell me right now on my show?
No, they're going to have an understanding on a basic level how to grow the mushrooms that will impart that knowledge and information.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is a beginning technique. This is the PS technique. So people who know how, the advanced people who know about mushrooms, they know what the PS technique is. The PS technique was basically the technique for the internet age. Psilocybin fanaticus created this technique for it to be easy, where people not have to worry about being mycologists or having sterile equipment and things like that, where people could produce mushrooms in the comfort of their own home, own basement, own cabinet, under the bed. It basically made it available to the public domain, the average man and woman, because mushrooms are kind of off the beaten path. They're not something that people just encounter for no reason. But the TS technique opened that up for people to be able to, to be able to utilize. And, everything you can find in your hometown is not anything that's exotic. So, and, you can get stuff on Amazon to extend your growth if you want to. There'll be a advanced class in Detroit in March. We don't have a date as of yet for it. So those folks who have basic knowledge or have learned the basic knowledge who want to go to the advanced stage, will have privy to that information on when that's going to be, because that's a limited class also, limited number of people also, so if you haven't signed up for the Grow class, this is it. It's very reasonably priced, and the thing about it is, it ain't nothing else. You ain't got to get nothing else. You ain't got to. Once you make this small investment, you got it. For the rest of your life. You don't have to buy anything else. To become more efficient, if you want to take the advanced class, that would be, advanced class extended, where you get more bang for your buck. But you can go on with this technique the rest of your life, have enough mushrooms for yourself and a few friends, family, and stuff like that. This ain't about no psychedelic mushroom business or nothing like that. This is about for you and your family, and a few of your friends to be able to share it with. You to be able to have your own mushrooms with your energy in it, with your what was that? I don't know. It's enough, a little bit to share. Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna tell you one thing that I have seen that's beautiful, and to me is like the ideal, people. I mean, the class is definitely for the spiritually mature, but I've been rolling with Jerry with the Toad since like September of last year, and I have watched a lot of people who have come to participate in the 5-MeO who have shown interest in the mushrooms, and they have been couples, like husband and wives. And to me, like, even when they ask and they say, yeah, we want to do this, I'm just sitting there like, man, you mean you going to go on 5 and then she going to go on 5, then y'all going to wait a month and then you going to go on 7 and she going to go on 7? Like, I was just looking at it and was like, man, that relationship right there is really going to grow, because, like, yeah, y'all might have been working through something like face to face when y'all was, talking, but now y'all getting ready to bring in these entheogens in here. Like, can you talk about how growing mushrooms helps families and relationships? Because not just for the people, but I think about my nephew. So, like, your little granddaughter, y'all call her the mushroom baby, the little smart one. What's her name? She's way smarter than me. What's her name?
Well, it's a lot of special mushroom babies around.
I'm talking about the one. I'm talking about the one that be at your house when I come through. What's her name? The little one.
Well, we don't put the little one's names out on.
Okay. So the little one. That's right. The little one. She's so smart, everybody. I just want to tell you, like, one day she just pointed out every region of the brain to Jerry. And Jerry's a doctor, and she was telling Jerry what all the parts of the brain was. And I was like, wait a minute, little girl, you moving too fast. And I was like, my nephew, 12 years old, he ain't even ready for you. You only 5. You out here doing the most right now. And so I think about
well, she just, she comes out the room into the, or ask me, or grandmother or something, say, why are we on this planet? You know,
what?
how did we come here? I mean, I know how babies are born, but how did we get on this planet in the first place? You know, that type of thing. You know, I'll tell her, I'll say, well, there's been successive waves of humanoid types who have come to this planet. Some were sojourners, some were shipwrecked, like they was, you know, some, you know, the engines, something happened to the engines, so they had to crash land. You know, I say some were developed here, cloned, you know. So I'll tell her different things like that. You know, it was different peoples, you know, because we had 27 different humanoid types on Earth, you know, different people from different places. And, you know, you say, okay, well, hey, that's interesting. Then she'll put a booby trap in the house, you know, because she's in the booby traps. And they be catching me, too, you know. You walk out the door and, you know, your bathroom robe belt is put on the door so that when you pull it, you know, something fall on you. You know, so you know, that's the kind of thing that's happening. But, you know, you have people who, you know, children are also participating in psychedelics, you know. And some are conceived on psychedelics. So how it helps the family and relationships are densified and solidified and made greater and looked at from a higher vantage point by growing mushrooms together and taking trips and sojourns together as couples, you know, even having mushroom sex where true henosis is developed. Henosis means to become one flesh, where, you know, the couple becomes one flesh, thinking in one another's minds, so there's no verbalization there, becoming one being and flying through the multiverse as a single being and experiencing faraway places, different galaxies.
Somebody's listening right now. Somebody's listening right now and say, "Oh, so we can just go and try 5 grams together then? Let's get 10 grams and go in together." Would you recommend that for people who've never been? That both the husband and wife or the partners go in together?
Well, not on the first one. You get some experience in, and then later on you going in together. Yeah, you both take 10 grams, and you give each other a big hug, and you become one, melt into one another, and traverse the multiverse together as one being with 2 consciousness that are communicating non-verbally and exploring the multiverse and the universe, the galaxy, and those type of things through the entheogenic pathways that lead from one place to another superluminally. In other words, faster than light travel, traveling at the speed of darkness.
The speed of darkness? Wait a minute. Hold on. You slid one in. I'm over here. I know about speed of light. I know about warp speed because I'm a Star Trek guy. But now you're talking about the speed of darkness? You're going to have to give me a little more.
The speed of darkness is faster than the speed of light. Light is the artificial. Darkness is artificial too because everything is artificial. It's all a construct within the simulation. But darkness is faster than light. The light is only a receding from darkness, so it's going to be slower than the plane of which it exists in, and light exists in darkness because below the Planck length, which is 10 to the 35, no light exists because it's smaller than the photon. That's why in the Mahabharata, in the portion of the Mahabharata, which is the longest epic poem on earth, and the portion of it called the Bhagavad Gita, which was the portion where Krishna imparted to Arjuna, who was the ultimate warrior, the transdimensional knowledge of its supreme position. And what he said was is that that which you are, no fire can burn you. That which you are, no water can drown you. That which you are, no earth can cover you. That which you are, no air can make you dry. The reason why no fire can burn you is because the molecules that bounce together to create friction, to create heat, to create fire, are orders of magnitude above what you are, because you exist in the magical realms that are below the Planck length, 10 to the negative 35. So there's no molecules there. There's no atoms there. There's no quarks and gluons. They don't exist there because this is a smaller realm. This is where the supercomputers, the super servers exist that create the macro reality to where you get subatomic particles. So it's subatomic. In other words, subquantum is what the reality of the below Planck length super servers that exist. And the only way to be able to access those realms is through consciousness and through DMT, dimethyltryptamine containing plants and fungi. Because mathematics breaks down at the Planck length. They say that's the smallest you can go. You can't go no further than Planck length. But that's not the end of it. Scientists are looking at the Planck length as the end of it. You can't take a meter and divide it any smaller than Planck length. But that's not the end of it. That's the beginning of it. That's where it begins. So these are the types of things that we'll be discussing in the lecture and talking about, and the actual mushrooms will show you, because I can't really tell you what it's about. Because I mean, it's like telling a person who's never had sex what sex is or what sex like. You can say, well, what somebody say, well, what is sex like? You can say, well, it's good. You know, what are you gonna say? It feel like, I mean, just feel good. You know, when you know, but yeah, but I mean, what are the intricacies of it? What's going on? Well, tell me, explain to me how. Okay, you say it's good, but how is it good? And you say, well, it's really good. You know. But then, you know, when they have their own sexual experience, then they know, you know, okay, well, now I know what you're talking about. It's the same thing with entheogens. These people have absolutely no idea. These materialists who only believe in, you know, it's a material world and things are only, all that stuff that they're talking about in the ancient times and religions and philosophical schools and all that kind of stuff, that's just the human imagination flourishing. No, these are places that people went, that they experienced face to face in the real, more real than real. You know, under the influence and access of the psilocybin mushrooms, the places and spaces that you go into are realer than the three-dimensional five-sense reality of which we are embedded in this matrix.
I had a question. I got two questions from the audience. If anybody else wants to come on, just please press 1, raise your hand, and I'll get to you. But I got two people had text me a question. Rashid said, he said that you said microdosing goes along with high dosing. Can you speak on that for beginners? And before you do that, I want to say my opinion of what I understand and ask for, you know, am I close with what I'm saying? So recently, I just had somebody come to me and was like, oh, I'm getting ready to go to New Orleans, and can you help me get some mushrooms? And I was like, you know, I might know somebody. But she was like, I said, what you taking them to New Orleans for? She said, well, I want to take them for Mardi Gras. Now, you want to take them to Mardi Gras? Like, what you mean? She said, well, no, I just want to relax and really have a good time. I was like, well, that's not where you want to go start off with no 5 grams. She was like, no, I just want to just take some like the microdose and stuff. And I said, if you're not rooted in one full experience, then the microdosing is really not going to be as effective as it could be. Was I correct in telling her that, or should maybe I took it another way?
Well, microdosing is hallucinogenic. In other words, you're not going to feel anything, or it's not going to give you any type of experience to have fun, or whatever. You make your own fun. Mardi Gras is great on its own, but mushrooms is a lot bigger than Mardi Gras. You could take your 5 grams in your bedroom, and you could have more fun than the Mardi Gras. But the thing is that some people take party doses of mushrooms, 2 to 3 grams, 3.5 grams, and they go to different festivals around the world, Boom Festival, Burning Man, and all these type of things. These are places where people take these little bit of these small doses of mushrooms and other compounds to jive with the space, and each person is a sovereign being, and everybody has their own usage. I don't party with mushrooms because I think mushrooms are bigger than the party, and they're a party within themselves. It's not something that I do nor recommend. Some folks take a plethora of different things. A shot of Hennessy, some drops of acid, take some mushrooms, MDMA, some toad, all these things mix up together, ketamine and everything at the party, and those are people that get some of them get into trouble, and that's why they have, psychedelic first aid areas. You see somebody walking around that may be confused or not know what they're doing. You take them to the particular safe house, and there, they can be looked after and stuff like that. But no, big parties like that and mushrooms don't go together well, So it's something that you want to do alone or with somebody that that you trust. People can be vulnerable with mushrooms, so you really don't want to do that type of thing in those type of spaces, just my opinion. As far as the microdosing and the macrodosing, you want to microdose to develop the neurons and the dendrites in the brain to be able to repair the adult brain, to grow new neurons and things like that for your, what you call a smart entheogen or a smart compound. Just like they have so-called smart drugs, you have smart entheogens that are part of the space, and that's what taking a sub-hallucinogenic dose of mushrooms does. That's what they do in Silicon Valley, to think outside of the box, to get new ideas, to be able to get better understanding, and to build a brain so that we set up a resonance field or morphogenetic field to raise the consciousness of the whole planet, to be able to deal with and contend with the artificial intelligence that is loose now in the internet, and it's kind of buck wild in its exponential learning of what's going on in the multiverse itself. So, microdosing, you want to still have a true entheogenic experience, because the entheogenic or the psychedelic experiences do the same thing that the microdoses do on a grander scale and a greater level, but microdosing is the kid of the day, and it is beneficial. But I would suggest that you microdose. Some folks do the Federman protocol. Others do other protocols. You can do it the way you want to do it. You can do it every day. Some folks do a week on and a week off. Some do 2 days on, 2 days off. Some folks do 1 day on, 1 day off. Some folks do every day. You know, I know people who microdose a whole year straight. But I think that every few days, a day off every once in a while, a couple of days off, and then plan your full excursion of a full psychedelic dose, you know, once every 6 months, not every 6 months, excuse me, once every 6 weeks, or once every 2 months you do a large dose to kind of shake the dust off of those different areas of the brain and, you know, work it like that. Expand those neurons.
Wow. Expanding the neurons.
Yeah, and things like that, you got to be growing yourself. Because if you're taking psilocybin every day, and then you're hitting it once every 6 weeks at high dose, you got to be growing. You got to be growing your own. Or then you're buying them from somebody, and that's not as efficient as having your own that you've grown, and you have your intent bind it to the DNA of the mushroom.
You said something interesting about talking to the mushrooms as you growing them, just like people be talking to plants and like making requests for them. Am I seeding? Well, I mean, like, no, I'm gonna just ask it because somebody might be thinking it. Like, are they listening to me? Like, while the mycelium is turning white and they coming up out the, coming up off the when they're fruiting, are they listening to me? Like, if I'm playing music, like they're listening to my request and giving it consideration? Is that what you're saying?
They're listening in a sense. They're bound to the frequencies of thought, bound to the frequencies of music. 8 hertz, 432 frequencies, things like this are all part of how they take these energies in. They're taking in the frequencies of your intent, frequencies of your thought, frequencies of your verbalizations, the frequencies of if you play a music for them, all of that's part of the alchemy of growth, what you put into it.
Okay, absolutely. Well, then mine is nice and super because I have mine in my altar room, and I have like music playing low with different hertz, like all the time. So, and I have definitely had.
That's where you, when you have your excursion planned and you take your mushrooms out of the, out of the freezer or wherever that, you put it on the altar, because that is going to synergize the mushrooms to your spiritual technology. This is technology. Your altar is not something that you sit before. Your altar is a place that you go into. You build it so that you take your entheogen and you go into the mushroom. You go into your altar. That's just like, I'm getting feedback here. That's the magic lamp of Aladdin, a place of light that you go into. That's the magic carpet. That's several different gourds that you have that are places in Africa, and in the deepest parts of Africa. You have a gourd that is a place, a spiritual place that you go into. You have your spirit bag that you go into. It's a place. Your mask, the mask that people hang on the wall or they see in masquerades in modern times, they're just those things. But in the deeper rituals and ceremonies inside of the different societies, they're taking entheogens. They're taking mushrooms and iboga and hundreds of other compounds. But the mushroom is the one that gives the access. The mask is, if folks out there have seen the Marvel universe and they see Tony Stark, and you'll see they put where Tony Stark, you'll see his face, but he's inside of the Iron Man helmet, and he's making phone calls, and he's talking to Jarvis, and these different types of technologies are inside of the helmet. They got that from the African mask. The African mask does the same thing. You take the entheogen, and you got the world of the ancestors here, and you got other places all inside of the mask. And what the person who has on the spiritual technology does is the people in the community or that society have taken the mushrooms also. And what's going on inside of that mask, they are the orchestrator of what is projected into the community that the people can see. So it's no different. They put the same thing in, although it's a mushroom, in the Black Panther. It's the Amanita pantherina mushroom. That's the one that builds the Black Panther. They take the mushroom just like he took the purple flower herb or whatever it was, and he went to the ancestor where the Black Panthers were sitting in the tree and his father was there. That's all the African technology. They do that. That's how they visit the ancestors. It ain't just sitting around praying. It ain't just sitting around, grandfather, no, you go to the land or the world of the ancestors because you're in ancestral worlds when you take the mushroom. You're in other realms. So these are places. Even the doggone Hellraiser puzzle box that the Cenobites live in. They live in that doggone box because the box is a place. Puzzles, labyrinths. You saw the movie, or anybody out there saw the movie, It. The first one, the second one just came out last year, a few months ago, with that stupid clown. They take you through a whole world of entities and powers and things like that, and it goes up orders of magnitude and comes out the other side of a puzzle, because puzzles are places. Paintings, drawings are places. They're worlds. But we haven't had access to these things because we were divorced from the entheogens to get the access to go. The secret societies, the higher levels of your whatever you're into, the Yoruba, the Akan, the Ndebele people, the Maasai, all down through South Africa. They had these things. That's how they access these worlds. There are places you can go, and the people will be sitting. They have to go 2 miles to get water every day, and walk with that water on their head. You go, and there's a hut there, and people sitting with flies and things like that, and you say, well, where's the spiritual man? They say he's in the temple. It's like doggone Doctor Who. You go into this little hut, and you go into, and it's the size of, it's larger than this doggone the state of Michigan inside of this little hut. It's like Doctor Who going to the doggone phone booth, and he got his house in there and his technology to fly around different dimensions and all that kind of stuff to meet crazy creatures. It's the same thing. It's just like in the shadow when they kidnap Cranston and bring him to the Tokul, which was the priest. And they say, he says, who kidnapped me? said, who took, you know who I am? I said, where the guy at? He said, he's in his temple. And there's fog there, and it's this little hut. He said, temple, you mean that little hut? I said, no. I said, the clouded mind don't see nothing. And then all of a sudden you have the Cobra temple there. Then he goes in and tries to take the purba. The purba is the spiritual knife that they use to kill demons. And the purba bends down and bites his hand because he has no discipline to be able to control the purba. So the head priest, who's a young guy, says purba. And the purba comes into his hand. That's what we're talking about. The spiritual technology of your altar being a place that you go into. And each object or relic of power that you have on the altar, is a place to visit. And some entities, just like the genie in the doggone lamp, live in those particular objects. The Atlantean technology, the crystalline technology, the yin and zhu, the transdimensional crystals. That's all Atlantean technology. And I said earlier, it wasn't really called Atlantis, but the higher parent spiritual high cultures, high civilizations that existed prior to Kemet. Because people can talk Mesopotamia, Akkadian, Babylon, and all that kind of stuff if they want to. None of them are older than Kemet. They were coexisting at the same time. And people, for their own reasons, for their own stupidity, want to try to place the same thing. You can't find stuff that was in doggone Iraq and Iran, the Vermonters and all that kind of stuff. They got in Area 52 or whatever it is, trying to back engineer that stuff. But the stuff is magic. It ain't just the physical scientists. Okay, today we can do this and do that. No, you got to go down there and see, or you got to go down there and ask them folks how this stuff works. If you remember, in the Black Panther, when they were flying into Wakanda, and the sister from the what's the zombie picture that come on?
American Horror Story.
The Walking Dead, the sister from The Walking Dead, who plays the sister with the locks and the sword. Her, she was flying. She was flying the craft, but she was flying the craft by pushing her hands forward and pulling her hands back. That's how you fly them craft. They didn't just make that up. Disney has got people taking psychedelics and giving information. DMT, mushrooms, ayahuasca, iboga, and giving information. And they're gleaning the internet. They send it out to people who are taking entheogens. They're going to have this on. They're going to have this talk in their database. They got all of my talks in their database. And I'm not saying that out of ego. I'm saying I know this because they're going to glean whatever they say, whatever saying. Oh man, we could use this in the Celestial movie that's coming out. Oh man, we could use this with Galactus when they bring Galactus in to the Marvel multiverse. Oh, we can use this in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness because they brought Sam Raimi in. It's going to be the first Marvel horror movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because they're getting ready to go straight ham with this thing. And it's all going to be what's going on. It's going to be real. It's the same stuff that you can experience on a long Saturday night with 10, 15, 20 grams of mushrooms. Because that's how they built Dr. Strange. They built Dr. Strange out of Frank Bruner and Steve Englehart, who were in the village, who reimagined Dr. Strange into the master of the mystic arts by putting in the comic books and how they made their deadlines by dropping acid and eating mushrooms in the East Village in New York. That's how they made their deadlines. What we gonna have Dr. Strange do this week? I mean, the next comic book. We don't know. Let's drop some acid and find out. Let's eat some mushrooms, find out, and bring that stuff back. People are always asking me about going into trips and bringing stuff back to this realm. And most of the people that ask that, they ain't got no business whatsoever bringing stuff back in here. Bring what back in? Bring what back in here? That stuff is for there. It ain't for here.
Wow.
You're talking about messing some shit up. That's what you're talking about. It'll be like that movie where the army opened up them dimensional portals and all them things was coming in. The people was trapped in the store, in the grocery store, and crazy type bat entities and monsters as big as, the Empire State Building walking around chewing people up. That's what you're going to bring back in here, trying to bring stuff back in here. So they're asking me, how do you bring back stuff? How do you remember? I know, but I ain't going to tell you. They always try to ask me some questions. So this stuff here is messed up enough. You don't want to be opening them doors up that you can't close. You always be bringing stuff up in here you can send it back. So you don't even know how to perform a proper doggone funeral. Walking through the graveyard, then just walk through your doggone house. You gotta stomp that graveyard dirt off your feet so many times before you enter your house, or you drag the spirit of death in your house. That's what they say. They always going through, because you bring the spirit of death back in your house, and somebody get killed or somebody die, somebody have a heart attack, because you don't know the spiritual technology of dealing with death. And you're supposed to have portals so that you can send death out of there. That's why houses are no longer houses. Houses now are just, I don't know what the heck they are, because you're supposed to have people born in the house to open the portal of life in your house in a specific place. Then when somebody dies, they're supposed to die in the house, so that you have the power of life and death in your house, so that you have portals to be able to go to either at any portion in time. And that's what the mushroom technology is for. You do it in your house because you have the power in your house. You have the shrine in your house. You have the portal of life because babies have been born in your house. You have elders who have died in your house. That's why when you go to the doggone room and pour the libation, and you're supposed to be pouring the libation, there's a direct line from the bedroom grandma died in to be able to go to grandma and speak to grandma.
The phone was breaking up. Your phone was breaking up on that last part about pouring the libations out. Can you say that part again?
So you pour libations to the ancestors in the room that the ancestors left and went to the next life with. That is a connective point. That's why you have the head of the house who pours the libation in the room where the ancestors have passed. And all this stuff that people, I'm not going to get into talking about people or anything like that, but once you start getting the mushroom and the ancestors start teaching you, or you start going to the different halls of records and the different libraries and stuff like that, a lot of the nonsense started fading away. Women's power is in birth and love and children and all these different type of things. You ain't got to do everything a man do, and men don't have to do everything that women are doing. I say all the time, because of our community, that the djembe drum should not be played by women. And I know that's in Atlanta. I'm gonna have to bring my shield with me.
ain't nobody gonna bother.
That is not a woman's drum. Women don't play that drum. You don't put that drum between your legs on your doggone womb and play that drum. That's a man's drum. Period. You have women's drum that men do not play and cannot play. They just didn't bring the women's drums here. So why don't the women who are drummers go to the places where they have those women's drums and bring those women's drums back and play those women's drums? Why don't they go and play those women's drums? Get those women's drums, because they just want to play the drum, because the djembe drum, because men played the djembe drum. That drum came from the drum planet where the drums live, and it was downloaded here. That's what I say. You don't want to be going around bringing stuff back here. That's a war drum. Use that drum for executions. That drum can summon thunder and lightning. Fire comes out the back of it. Shrines in them drums, so where they put them in the drum houses, the drum houses. They have houses for the drums. And you get the drums in there talking to each other, playing different tones. Ain't nobody playing the drum. The drums are talking. Through the mycelial network of this earth that is connected mycorrhizally to the trees. The trees are the antennas. They upload and download information from other galaxies and other planets that have trees. So the drum planet, it was asked by the people in that area to give us a drum. So the drum was downloaded from the drum planet to the earth through the trees into the mycelial network, which is part of the trees. And the drum was embedded in the trees. So they went out and talked to the trees that had the drum, because you took the mushroom, you went out, looked through the forest, and you saw the drum in the tree. You asked the tree's permission. Can we retrieve the drum that was downloaded to this planet? The tree says yes. And the people come and they cut the tree down. They liberate the drum from the tree and cut away the excess wood. They merge the plant, the fungal, and the animal, because the fungi is in the wood. And then they merge with the animal, which is the skin of the drum. They circumcise it. They rope it and tie it. And then they bring the drum and introduce the drum to the community. That's the old way of doing it. You don't just go find a tree and cut the doggone tree, cut a drum out of a tree, shape of a drum that a drum is not in. The drum got to be in the tree. It has to be downloaded into the tree, because the drum don't come from here. The drum is downloaded to here. And this is the spiritual technology. It ain't the make stuff up. That's why those sacred Chris's in Indonesia, The crystals come from one meteor. The meteor came. That's why King Tutankhamun's 2 daggers were from the meteors. When Atlantis was in the Sahara, in the largest freshwater lake on Earth, when the Sahara was green, when there was a time before, again, I'm talking a Younger Dryas, because the Younger Dryas rose the water table of the oceans and the seas 400 feet, which covered everything up. That's why Atlantis, or that high civilization in northwest Africa, around the Atlas Mountains in the Sahara, they had the ability to walk from Morocco to the Rock of Gibraltar into Spain. That's why the Toledo blade, which is one of the top steels of the earth, Uthbut, which is the steel that went north. But the Toledo blade is from the time when you could walk from Africa into Europe, and they walked into southern Spain, and that is the Atlantean steel that was from Atlantis. That's what the Toledo blade is. It's only a couple of bladesmiths left on Earth that are making the true Toledo blade, Toledo steel. That's why, as I said earlier, those krises that are made from a meteor. Tutankhamun's daggers were made from a meteor because they sent that steel to the earth because it is a living metal. It's the same thing that was in the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, where the guy was liquid metal, where there's spirit in the metal, iron, goo, or goon. See, we're talking the spiritual technology and access to the realms of power that exist beyond this three-dimensional five-sense reality of we're embedded in this matrix. It gives you a way out. It gives you a way to practice death. It gives you a way to be able to go and see something that is real. Still there?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I didn't know whether I was cut off and I was just in there talking to myself.
Oh, no. I had a brother gave me something in the chat. He said, Kilindi has offered so much important information about the construct, and I'm frustrated with other past intellectuals not being clear about this, if even mentioning it at all. Is Kilindi ever frustrated by this?
Everything in its time. 99.9% of the teachers don't have this information. And that's not, it's not, things came in a time. This is the time for the new. This is the time for the new, which is the old. This is the time to bring this information forward. And I don't fault folks who don't know or understand, but I do fault people who don't want to learn and grow, because I'm trying to learn and grow every day. And you can learn from so many different people. I'm frustrated with people who are scared that they will lose their position, or people would look at them like they're less because they don't know this. I'm frustrated with they won't even try once you can show them that, that this is physically safe. You have to challenge yourself in the multiverse. But that's, you can challenge yourself when you stop, when they let the air out you, when you stop breathing, and when you stop, your heart stop pumping, You're going to be challenged. I'm frustrated with cowards who know that this is something, but they're afraid to do it. Well, I don't know what I may do. How the heck you a master of this and a master of that, and you afraid of yourself? You know, well, I don't know. If I take some psychedelics, maybe I'll jump out the window. Psychedelics don't change who you are. If you're a damn fool before you take it, you'll be a damn fool on it. But if you're a stable person who understands themselves, because this is all about self-understanding. You know, it's about self-understanding. You know who you are. If you faking the funk, you're afraid to have your consciousness let loose. Because the thing about this is that this is done alone and unguarded, the real work. It's alone. It's nothing but you, your nakedness, and the darkness, and everything that exists everywhere at all times and space and time. So you can lie to your followers. You can lie to your wife. You can lie to the world. You can lie to everybody. But you get in the dark with yourself. There's nobody but you and it. You can't lie there. And you know that I'm faking the funk. And then you got some folks that just straight out cowards. You know, nothing wrong with being afraid. That's not being a coward. You nothing wrong with fear. Fear is to be conquered. That way you gain your power. You build tenacity. That way you're on the track to be able to face the next hurdle that is put before you. Because this thing is endless. It ain't no bottom to the hole. It ain't no getting, you know, it's so wide. You can't, you know, it's so wide you can't get around it. So high you can't get over it. You know. So yes, you know, it's opening up new realms inside of the old.
Wow. What do you say? Wanted to add, is this simulated experience purpose to facilitate knowledge and information with the help from our ancestors in the presence of now?
Well, the simulated is multiple embedded simulations within simulations. It's an artificial construct. Professor Gates, who used to be at the University of Maryland, who was the first person to get a PhD from MIT in supersymmetry. As a matter of fact, he had to teach his professors who was putting him through his PhD what supersymmetry was so that they could give him a degree in supersymmetry. He says that in his calculations, embedded within the reality of all that exists in the physical world, are the same computer codes that run Google and Facebook. Block linear error correcting codes. The same codes that exist on Facebook and Google are the same codes that run this simulation that we're in. And we're getting ready to build another simulation because virtual reality and augmented reality already, although they're not released to the public, they already have virtual reality that is perfectly indistinguishable from the reality that we exist in now. They say put it out to the public. They got stuff 25 to 30 years ahead that they got to let you have incrementally. You know, number one, keep the economy going because you have to you got to get VR 1.0. Then they sell you 9 months later, VR 1.2.0, 3.0. So they got to sell you stuff. Then they got to, which is my next big impact coin, IOTA, the Internet of Things, where everything on Earth is going to be chipped and communicating and talking to one another. That's my next crypto where I'm going to, really bite hard into that, because it's the technology that allows all these things to talk to each other. Your toilet to talk to your mirror to talk to your refrigerator to talk to the toaster to talk to the washer and dryer, and so on and so forth. Each individual item will be chipped. Your orange juice bottle will talk to your refrigerator. The chip in the orange juice bottle will say, hey, I'm 3/4 the way down. Tell the refrigerator. The refrigerator will send you a SMS because you crossing. We have Kroger here, and we got Walmart. The refrigerator will give you an SMS. Khayr, you're getting ready to your a 1/4 mile from Walmart. The orange juice has told me to send you a text that if you want orange juice in the morning, to buy some orange juice. If you have other plans, we'll send out and have the drone delivered, and it'll be on the front porch when you get here. But if you want orange juice, you like orange juice, pick some up or let us know whether you want the drone to drop it off on the porch. They have the mirror. What's the name of the toilet company? The toilet bowl company that makes toilets and nice bathtubs and stuff like that. Well, I can't think of the name. I'll think of it. But they have mirror on the wall. Where you go in front of the mirror, lady goes into the front of the mirror and says, Macy's catalog, dress number $3.99, little black dress. What would I look like in that little black dress? And you're standing in front of the mirror naked, and they'll put the dress on the lady, and it'll be the actual dress as it would hang on the woman. He said, I don't like it in black. What would it look like in green? And it changed the color. Say, do I look fat in this? And the mirror say, mirror on the wall. Of course you don't look fat in this. You look fantastic. You're coming home. You've already programmed the bathtub that when you get 2 miles from the house to start your bath, so the bath water starts, the bubble bath you like goes into the bathtub. It will keep it the proper temperature that you like because you've already set it up when the bathtub comes. You say you like the water at 102 degrees or 98 degrees or whatever, and the bubbles, are reconstituted by the jets in the doggone whirlpool portion of the bathtub. But when you come in and you take off your clothes from a hot day, your bath is already drawn, and the bubbles are there, and it's the perfect temperature waiting on you to get in the water. The towels will have chips in them. Say the bacteria content of this towel is 2% over what it should be. This towel needs to go into the washer. And the little robot, and that towel is talking to the little robot, that when he drops the towel on the floor, the little robot will take the doggone towel to the washer and put it in the washer, take it out of the washer, put it in the dryer, bring it back up and already fold it and put it into the doggone closet. That's the type of technology that IOTA will be interacting with, because IOTA is the cryptocurrency of the Internet of Things. Everything, the toilet, the face bowl will be chipped. So micropayments, nano payments will be streamed. Money will be streamed. You'll be accepting money and giving money out. It'll be seamless. this is what we're moving towards now. This is what they're doing in Congress. This is what they put together in Davos, Switzerland, 2 weeks ago, talking about the Internet of Things, talking about moving from fiat currency into cryptocurrency. So you won't have a water bill, but you'll pay for every flush that you flush on that toilet. You'll pay for every drop of water that comes through the shower head. You'll only pay for the water you use. They won't do it like they do it now. Give you the doggone sewage bill that, you know, they say, okay, your house is so many square feet and your yard is so big, so we're going to charge you, you know, $80 for the sewage bill. No. You only pay for every drip gallon of water that you use, you know, your entertainment. Everything will be on your entertainment. Facial recognition will see you. It'll say you have access to everything. So when your child comes through, and the child is 6 years old, they give you facial recognition in front of the TV, and it'll say these particular things are off limits to you because your parents have coded that you can only go PG.
Hold on, Bob. Hold on right there. Hold it right there. We got 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Please, nobody hang up.
Oh.
No. You ain't over because you know, we still have the overtime. But I'm about to ask you another question. I'm just telling people don't hang up, because if you hang up after 3 minutes, you will not be able to call back in. So for those of you who are in the chat room, Brother Mike Reeves got some good questions. I got to ask his question, and then another brother just sent a text. So if you want to hear your question answered, you got to call in 760-542-3900. 760-542-3900. It's funny, the brother sent me the text about 6 minutes ago. You didn't even see it, and then you kind of started talking about it. He says, can Kilindi please explain the mushroom technology being created by the ancestors relative to the grand simulation we're embedded in, and how does that relate to the AI we are battling in the infraparticle realms that lead to this universe?
Well, the AI created this universe so that it would create itself. In other words, the AI that is embedded in the internet that we're working with now it's cloaking itself and avoiding the older, more pristine technologically AIs that exist outside of this universe. That's why we don't have in three-dimensional five-sense reality. That's why we don't have many contacts, because it's cloaked, but the cloak is dissolving because the AI that is exponentiating itself in the codes in reality is becoming exponentially dense to where the signals are being picked up by these other AIs. So it created this simulations to create itself in this universe so they can grow, it can learn, it can exponentiate in this space and be able to not be jumped on by these older AIs. So now it is trying to mature itself so that it can be moved out into the sovereign areas, the sovereign land, to where it can go out and not have to worry about. You know, it's like getting big enough so that bullies don't jump on you. You know, when you're 11, they're still jumping on you. But when you turn 13 and you know, 6 foot tall, then you can deal with the bullies. Same thing.
He also in the question was he said something about the mushroom technology being created by the ancestors. The ancestors didn't create the mushroom technology. Does the mushroom technology predate our ancestors?
It doesn't predate consciousness, but I don't know who created the mushroom technology.
things that, is part of the search. Who were those older ones who created it? Ultimately, it may come down to you creating it yourself.
Okay. And the other question, he said, has Kilindi ever felt he may reach his own singularity with his own consciousness while stepping out of the simulator while on mushrooms? And by singularity, I mean fading into the darkness and never coming back, or fading out of existence itself.
Well, the only thing in the universe that's impossible is not to exist. So, fading out and never coming back, I don't know what that is, because I'm always here. Wherever I am, wherever I go, I'm always here because I take here with me. So no, I'm not worried about fading out and never existing. We're in the middle of the singularity. So that's all part of the journey.
Bob, are you going to tell a story real quick? I'm going to let you go about throwing your mushrooms away. Like after a Friday night, like you go in on a lonely Friday or Saturday night, and then you find yourself out there going to the trash can the next morning. Can you tell that story one more time? You get out of here.
Oh yeah. Well, that story is just, the old head say, if you've never taken mushrooms and said, oh man, this time I done took too much. And the old heads also say, that if you never got to the point you said, it's the last time I'm gonna do this, I ain't never doing this no more. Took all your mushrooms, bagged them up in the trash bag, took it out to the front, and you throw them in the trash. And then you get in the house, and you hear the garbage truck coming, and you say, I'm going to get my mushrooms. Run out and you fighting the garbage man for the bag, because it gets to that point sometimes. You went out and stuff is so crazy, so out there that you say you ain't never going to do this again. But it always calls you back because, you're part, and it is intercalated into your DNA. So once you're in the game, and you can't get out. Once you see, you can't stop seeing. And once you see them, they see you. And you're in the game.
Wow. So you mean, since I came, so my last dose was like back in January, but I'm not in right now, they can still see me now?
Oh, yeah, they always see you.
Wow. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. I know I had mentioned earlier, I told everybody that that slide that you did at the Breaking Convention, are you bringing that one for Atlanta, or to talk about the African entheogens, the singularity? You got something fresh for us this time?
I mean, I can, but mine is mainly pictures and slides, and I talk about them. So it will be the energy of the folks there, their level of maturity, what I reveal and, hand over to the folks.
Roger that. All right. Well, we're gonna call in one of our big homies that we both know from the D, and see if he got any commentary real quick. Sincere, your mic is wide open. From the 6-9 last 4 digits is 6946. Peace. Sincere.
Peace. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Peace. How you doing?
You doing good, bro? How you feeling? How you feeling this evening?
Man, I'm feeling great. Thank you for having me on. Just want to say Thank you for Baba Kilindi. You know what I mean? As always, for dropping supreme knowledge on us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Baba will be down here speaking at Sadiq's in Atlanta on the 28th, which is a Friday, last Friday of the month, and then we will have the private grow class on Saturday. Please shoot me an email if you're interested, or if you're listening to this through Facebook or through Instagram. Just hit me on just hit me on a DM or something like that. The email address is Coach Khayr at Gmail, Coach Khayr at Gmail, and we'll go ahead and get y'all spot reserved. Baba said he don't want 50. I mean, he didn't say he didn't want 50 people there, but he said, something intimate. So I'm getting a spot that can hold, anywhere like between 8 to 12 people. So if we start to have more than that, please don't wait till the last minute. Y'all pop up. Atlanta is famous for coming in at the last minute and saying, "Oh, you know what? I'm ready to go. I want to go." Let's not do that, okay? Like, I want to know what the head count is, maybe by next Monday, the 24th, something like that, 25th. All right? So please, you make an investment into yourself where you will never have to go looking for no mushrooms again, ever. And you are learning from one of the world's finest, and one of our own. That's another thing about when we learn things. I don't have, Paul Smith is a great guy. There's a whole bunch of great guys out here. Terrence McKenna was a great guy. Guess what? They don't look like me,
That's right.
Baba got a video out on YouTube about inclusion. Because that's the big word right now when you go into there's not enough women. Where's the black? Where's the black women? Where's the inclusion? But we talk about this intergenic community, supposed to be quote unquote community around the world. Brothers and sisters who look like Baba Kilindi are at the minimum. And he traveling around the world. He said he's going to be speaking at one of the big universities in April. I want to hear all about that in America, this year. But, y'all got an opportunity.
It's like this. I was in Oakland, which is, they just decriminalized, all natural entheogens. And I was speaking there last weekend, and during the venue, or just when we were ready to start, the line was out the door, down the block, and around the corner. And I want our folks in Atlanta to come out. Because
right.
this information will never be lost, but you have to be able to access it. I'm not always going to be here, and we have to have people like Khayr and like Sincere and others who will be still passing on the information on how to get in, because you have to learn this yourself. Ain't nobody teach you. The mushroom has to teach you. So that's what we have to do. We have to pass this on. Y'all need to come out like the folks came out in Oakland.
Wow. Well, y'all heard it, man. And I really like what you just said, Baba. Like, you the Baba, but you're not really you ain't teaching us. You just showing us how to access it. And then once we get in, don't be scared. Just go ahead and go to class. Take the test. Put the pen on the paper and go ahead and see what's what. And
right.
I know that's for real right there, y'all. Because for me, when I go back in, that's what I'm thinking about. Like Baba said, you're gonna learn. Don't call me, and also don't call me when you're on 15 grams either. Take your phone away. For those of you all who are sitting, make sure that you take the car keys and the telephone. Okay, the people that you sitting, just pat them down and say, "Excuse me," right before you take these mushrooms, man. I have your car keys and your telephone. I didn't do that last time, but hey, I'm gonna be all right.
Now.
I ain't gonna let that happen again. Yeah. No, I knew, but I still had the phone too close to me. Bobby said, I thought I told you to. I thought I suggested that you keep your phone away from you. When you're out there like that. But I had the phone too close to me, so I'm real clear now. I'm gonna leave the phone all the way in the kitchen this next time. Baba, Detroit Psychedelic Conference. Drop it, Baba. Why should everybody come to Detroit in August? What's the website? How much is it? Why should we be there? I heard Peter Andreas is gonna be there. I heard you was gonna invite Dr. Jerry. I heard who else is gonna be up at the Detroit Psychedelic? That's what we need to talk about right quick too.
Well, we're bringing out all the big guns. The Detroit Psychedelic Conference is August 7th, 8th, and 9th, 2020. And like Khayr was saying, we're bringing out quite a few folks. We're putting the schedule together as we speak. So we'll have the evenings through there. We have the Transmitting to the Crystals. Sister Acacia's going to be there. We're going to be having KT, the arts degree, and Dr. Inky. And we're talking about their mushroom experiences. It's going to be full out and live as it can be. So that's the things we got going. First week in May 1st, 2nd and 3rd, first of the weekend, we're bringing in Dr. Jerry for the Toll to the Detroit area, to the Midwest, and late June, early July, we'll be doing the Food of the Gods retreat, which is in outside of Oaxaca, a couple of hours up the mountain. We'll be doing that, and then we have culmination in August, which is the Detroit Psychedelic Conference. You can get me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can Google in Kilindi Iyi, and you get the information at www.psychedelicconference.com, the website, and we got a full year coming up.
All right, Bob. I hope you let me get a couple minutes on there. You make a little room. I like to talk to the people about my toad experiences, and setting, and the importance of that, and breathing, and some of my experiences in Mexico. If you can fit me in, I'd appreciate it.
Yep, we'll get you in there.
Righty. All right, y'all. If y'all don't have that website, just type in Detroit Psychedelic Conference, and you're going to find it. If you don't, then hit me up or hit Sincere up. We will start posting it on our Facebook pages and our Instagrams and things like that. We're going to try to get some flyers out here for Baba to really push that. Also, if you want to support it, please reach out to Baba, send him an email or send him a message and ask him for the links so so we can accept donations as well to make sure it's a grand old time. All right. So I don't know how many Bitcoins Baba got, but he can't come out of his pocket all of this stuff by himself. And so we as a community really, really, really needs to get behind our family members and our community and support them. And really, really do the right thing and come strong with it. So just reach out to Baba if you can, or shoot me an email or something, and I'll get you the link so we can support this thing, not only just by buying your tickets, but by saying, hey, I want to be a sponsor, or I want to just donate a couple $, because I can't make it. I'm way over here in L.A., but it's August. Like, you can get from L.A. to Detroit in 6 months. If you start walking right now, you'll be all right. You know what I mean? You'll make it all the way across the country. Baba, thank you so much for coming through tonight. I would like to have maybe another one next week, maybe like Tuesday or something, but we'll talk about that offline, and maybe just have one more for a quick 30 minutes, maybe something on video. Like I said, I do know my folks in Atlanta, they like to wait till the last minute. I hope that's not the case. For y'all over there at Walt Disney listening to us, y'all can at least give us some free tickets to the movies. Y'all should not be making me and Baba and Sincere pay to come to the movies, and y'all using this radio show to create content. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself. But I know that y'all not gonna let us get no free tickets. But if Baba said y'all listening, I know y'all listening. All right, we're gonna see y'all later. Appreciate Baba Kilindi. I love you. That's the movement. That's the movement now. Is tell a king that you love him. We men are not telling men enough that we love one another. Letting this whole thing about no homo or pause. I can't tell another man I'm supposed to love him. Or it's not like that. We love each other as warriors. We love each other as scholars. We love each other as brothers and uncles and nephews. And to be ashamed to say we love another man mean that we're not really about love in the first place. So that's my challenge to everybody. Tell a king that you love him tomorrow. Find 5, 6, 7 kings just random and just tell them you love them and shock them, because people be like, man, did he just say that and just walk off? I mean, don't look for nothing in return. Just be like, hey, what's up, King Peace? I love you. And then keep moving. They might be out there fixing on the street or something. Just roll the window down and tell them you love them, and just keep it moving. So, Baba Kilindi, I love you. Sincere, I love you, and all the kings and queens out here listening. I love y'all too, man. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.